Is it me or?
It is us. Yeah. Amazing. Well, good morning, everyone. We're really pleased to have you today. I think you're in for a real treat. So, I have with me Seb Bardin, and we're going to talk today about navigating the future of e-commerce. Seb is an e-commerce marketing lead with over 15 years of experience in major corporations, including Shell, Unilever, Coca-Cola. So honestly, you're in for a treat. Seb, I'll let you introduce yourself, and then we can get started.
Hey, I'm Seb. So working in digital and e-commerce for the last 15, even close to 18 years now. And I'm looking forward to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, amazing. Should we get right in?
Yes, let's get
amazing. Well, the first question I really wanted to ask you today is, what are some of the key trends that you're seeing in the e-commerce landscape, and how do you expect these trends to shape the future of online retail?
I think for me there are of course a couple of interesting trends happening right now, and I think of course we can talk about AI. Everyone is talking about AI. But the way I see it, it's really in terms of personalization at scale, so not just across all the channels, your paid, your earn, and your own, but also how to maximize AI to drive more loyalty rather than acquisition or new to brands. So definitely this is one of the trends I can see and where we can maximize the usage of AI.
Okay.
The other trend for me will be around social media. Mm-hmm. So again, is right now you have a lot of, I think you have millions of private Facebook, WhatsApp group where people are talking. You have Nextdoor around communities. So there is definitely an opportunity for brands to join the conversation and also, promote the word of mouth. So, we can talk about the even lady type of approach. So definitely the dark social space is quite an interesting place right now. And I guess the two other things for me will be the supply chain. So you can see that Temu, Shine, AliExpress are really pushing the F2C factory to consumer model. Amazon was already into that space since 2015, but looks like they are trying to up their game now. So recently they've been to China to have meetings with a lot of factories. So the F2C model is something that will be quite changing the landscape. And the last bit for me is more around the tech space.
Okay.
So how are we moving from digital to in-store? So again, you look at what TikTok is doing right now with their out-of-phone solutions, where they take influencers content and then bring it at your retail space in retail media, so really making this transition of online to offline smooth. Or even TikTok now doing this super brands promotion with L'Oreal in 2 days. So that will be definitely something something to watch out. Yeah.
Amazing, and I think something that we're quite keen on knowing as well, talking about the tech space and technology, is how does someone with so much experience as you, how do you evaluate new marketing technologies and their potential to disrupt traditional strategies? For example, could you share an example of a marketing technology stack that transformed how Coca-Cola approached e-commerce?
Yeah, I think, again, if everything will start with a consumer, so again, is for the brand, again, at Coke, it's about the consumer experience. So that will be, where we start, and then from that, how can technology help us to enable this experience. And again, one of the examples that we've been doing at Coke, it was to use Dragonfly AI, for instance, so where you can do your campaign testing in a really fast way, understanding, association of a campaign with your brands. So you're really pushing into that space in terms of a creative space to make sure that, we have optimal creative assets before going live, before putting money into media, for instance. And then there's on the creative side, and then I think there's a lot more around the analytics side. So again is the way we are looking at it, because we are getting a lot of data from different sources. It's about maximizing and using AI to maximize the data source and getting the right outcome to get the best out of it. And one of the projects I had the opportunity to see at Coke, it was around the universal media modeling approach, so not just looking after your mix modeling when it comes to ATL, but also integrate this with BTL, with packaging, with more data points. So yeah.
Okay. And while we are on the topic of trends, technology, and data, I'm really keen to know, with the shift towards first-party data, what are some of the biggest challenges that brands face in gathering and effectively using this data?
I think what I've seen in my last 2 gigs, there was a big focus around quantity of data rather than the quality of data. And of course, quantity of data, it's something that you can achieve with a low CPA by doing promotion, vouchers, sampling. So definitely, to get the data, it's a really easy way to do.
Yeah.
But I think the challenge is more about the quality of the data and where do you want to go. So something that I've done at Unilever, it was really to move this perspective in terms of what type of data do we need to get, and then how do we enrich this data. So one of the example is what we've done in India is we had this website called cleanipedia.com offering tips and tricks about cleaning, everything linked to your house. And what we wanted to do is to capture first-party data that we don't get, that we can't buy easily outside. And in this case, we wanted to identify washing machine owners so that we can do some proper retargeting, build a lookalike audience of this population. Because in India, washing machine owners was only 14% of the population. So that was one of the ways that we've done, really to identify the pain point, the data that we can't buy on Facebook, on Google, and then use this data. Okay, let's now try to leverage this data in e-commerce. And the results were pretty good because we managed to increase the ROAS by 20-30%, but we managed also to decrease the CPC, the CPA by double digits. So that was really impressive. Yeah.
Amazing. I think personally, when I knew that we were going to do this talk, obviously it's always really impressive to know the backstage of what's happening at big brands like Coca-Cola. So I'd really like you to tell me a bit more about a case study. So could you share an example of how Coca-Cola leveraged technology to enhance the shopper experience and drive top of the funnel success, essentially?
I think one of the things is, especially when you go into the FMCG world, it's what is the reason to be on e-commerce? Okay, you're selling a £1 or £2 bottle or a detergent or drinks. So I guess it's more, on the e-commerce space, what is going to be your competitive advantage? How can you make differentiation? And one of the examples that I can take is how we approach, Gen Z is quite a big target audience that we want to get.
Yep.
So how can we be relevant with Gen Z, drive sales with Gen Z? So what we managed to do is a campaign that we had for Coke creation. So it was a limited bottle of Coke. And the way we sold it, it was, you have your cans, you have a t-shirt, you have some goodies in a nice box. And we managed to run a campaign on TikTok, leverage Fulfill by TikTok, which was leverage the first the fulfillment solution from TikTok that they just released in the UK, and then of course use influencers to get people to buy the product. So again, it was a £6 product, and because of the brand heritage, because of the exclusiveness of this product, within 2 hours we were running out of stock.
Sold out.
So it was sold out quite quickly, and then people were selling this £6 product on eBay for 200 to £400 on eBay afterwards. So again, it's for me it's about using the technology space, of course, to drive consideration and conversion, but also leveraging more iconic brands and those exclusivity. Yeah.
So I know from our conversations we've talked a lot about retail media. You're really impressed with the results so far, including that TikTok case study. So I'd like to know, how do you see the rise of retail media impacting e-commerce strategies? And right now, what brands should do? What should they do to maximize the value of these platforms?
Again, retail media, for the way I see it, it's when you go in the theory of marketing, this is where you get digital availability with with mental availability. So this is an opportunity way to bring those together. Of course, you have to work closely between sales and marketing together to make sure that stock is there. You get your digital shelf right. But I guess the way retail media is changing things is really about driving this and getting this visibility on conversion. So getting the data right. And the right metrics in place. But I guess for me it's also about challenging this. Is it sales incrementality that we're looking for? Is it impacting your profits as well? So where is your retail media coming from? Is it cutting your brand investment and putting it everything more around short-term sales activation? Well, I guess it's more about having the balance right between doing retail media, doing it properly, but also not cutting on your brand investment as well. So yeah, there's a lot of questions, but the outcome is is tangible. You can see easily how much you're driving from your activities in retail media.
Oh, is the mic? Yeah. Okay, so obviously talking about tangible outcomes, and this is what I really want people here to get out of this session, because it's all about navigating the future of e-commerce. Strong of your experience, could you tell me what innovations or tools you see having the most impact on customer experience in e-commerce in the near future?
What I would say, I think...
Sorry, I think we need the mic. Thank you.
So in terms of what will be impacting the consumer, I guess for me it's we are looking at consumers want things right now, right in an instant way. So I think the opportunity to drive sales from advertising is definitely one of the main benefits, I guess, for consumer. So again, you can see recently that Amazon signed a deal with TikTok and with Pinterest, where you can instantly buy a product directly from the ad without going on the platform. So I think we are going to see much more cross collaborations between those existing big platforms, rather seeing them competing against each other. And then, so I think one of the things that we need to watch out. Another big trend, I guess, that is growing will be around voice commerce.
Okay.
So again, we've moved from your Alexa, your Google Home solutions that were a little bit sometimes quite painful because you had to install skills on Alexa, for instance. So that will be something interesting to see. Voice commerce 2.0 with an integration of AI. So right now, the experience of Gemini on your Google devices is pretty interesting. So that will be definitely watch out. And again, the last bit, I guess, for me, it will be the opportunities around the supply chain. So the F2C, but also in the UK, you can see that Tesco is moving into the marketplace solution. So I guess from a consumer, they should be expecting to see better pricing, much more choices in that end. So yeah.
Amazing. And so I know we have a lot of marketers in the audience today as well. So I'd like to know what advice you have for marketers when it comes to optimizing brand solutions whilst maintaining balance between driving growth while still maintaining brand integrity. Obviously, you've worked with major brands, so that must have been a challenge. What is your advice for navigating this situation?
I guess the most important thing is because with this evolving environment, it's more, I think a lot has to be done internally. So building the capabilities internally, making sure that everyone is, has a good understanding. So, training, capability building, boot camps are definitely important. And it's not just for the marketing community. I think it's also for, the sales team, legal as well, because we are talking about AI a lot now. So I guess it's more, getting the foundations right, getting everyone at the same page. And also the way to look at it is also having, about having the right balance, not going just after the brand building exercise or just about the short-term sales activation. So finding the right balance is key, and educating the C-suite what we should be doing. And then I think the last bit in terms of on that end is more to look at what we are doing in Asia, for instance, because a lot of those trends are coming from China and so on. So yeah, it's understanding what's happening there and what can we, from a cultural perspective, implement in Europe. So yeah.
And how do you get this knowledge of other markets personally?
So, working in global organization, it's, joining calls with your team in Southeast Asia, in China, seeing what they're doing, but also, using big opportunities like, such type of events and, to meet providers that are based in Southeast Asia. So definitely, just being curious in terms of what's happening there.
And that kind of brings me to my next point. Obviously, we've talked about trends, technology, data, but we haven't really talked about strategy. So what is the one strategy you would recommend for businesses who are seeking to drive business value while remaining efficient and agile? Because we've seen how important that is nowadays.
So I guess in terms of strategy, it's really, again, everything is back to, to the consumer at the end of the day. So again, the way I had the opportunity to approach it, it's more, to identify, how we can use technology as an enabler for our strategy to grow, to retain users as well. So, and for me, it has always been, I think, this mentality of test and scale rather test and learn, because the goal is really to scale the business at the end of the day. So that's why every time I've been doing this type of approach and adding it to the strategy, so making sure that, okay, the way we are doing things, let's make sure that at Coke or at Unilever, to make sure that we are investing 80% of our business in things that we know that will be working, and then 20% in things that we know that will be that is new, but also that will be driving further incrementality growth.
Amazing. So I'm going to ask one last question, but I want you in the audience right now to think about a potential question right now to ask him right after, because you have a goldmine of information right here. So I'm going to ask you, Seb, what will the customer of tomorrow expect?
I think one of the main things that they should be expecting will be instant, getting it right here, right now, and especially with with quick commerce. You can see recently that I think it's Deliveroo that has a partnership with some of the big DIY players here. So it's moving away from food delivery, groceries delivery to like your hammer delivery, things like that. So definitely there is this convergence between getting things right here, right now, and instantly. And of course, we can think about drone delivery as well. So I think some of the retailers are quite serious on that end. So definitely, I think it's a space to watch. The other bit will be more around, from a consumer point of view, the FTC model. So again, it's from a pricing perspective. We know that pricing is quite important. So again, having more options to buy, and also much more opportunities at a really good price. But I think the big challenge when it comes to FTC channels like the Temu, the Shine, and the AliExpress will be, to fight against the prejudice, the stereotypes of these platforms. So again, from their side, I guess they will need really to push the brand awareness, the benefits of buying with them. So there's quite a lot to do on that space.
Okay. I have one last cheeky question, actually. What are you excited about personally, about the future of e-commerce?
What excited, it's more, I would say AI is an important one. I guess how to integrate this and to get the legal team to approve all the players that are out there. So I guess it's the evolving space when it comes to AI, and also move away from just Gen AI. For me, I'm a big fan of the data. So really, in terms of finding the nuggets that will be helping us to grow the business. So I guess that will be more working more on the predictive AI side rather than generative AI side.
Amazing.
And also to see some of the amazing new tech players going into that space. Yeah.
Well, that's really exciting. Well, I'd love to know if anyone here would like to have a chat with Seb, ask him any questions. We'll pass the mic around. Again, goldmine of information right here. So please feel free to raise your hand right now. Okay. Yes, sir. Could we get a mic over there?
Hi, Seb. It's Bramwell. We've met before. You mentioned the shopper of the future. You asked a question of the shopper of the future. Could I just narrow it down a little bit and say Gen Alpha is coming up the next couple of years. Do you see any big differences between their expectations of the shopper experiences and the current kind of Gen Z and millennial shopper experiences?
So the question is, do we see a big difference between Gen Alpha's expectation compared to other generations in terms of customer experience, right? Okay.
That's an interesting one. Again, is I didn't really have a chance to work with on Gen Alpha, but I think what I've seen so far in my previous role, it was okay. We really need to consider them, and I think one of the interesting elements that I've seen so far is more around sustainability. And how more and more important it is for the brand. So of course, it's about sustainability of a product, but again, is when you're working in marketing now, it's also, especially e-commerce, how can we make it much more sustainable in terms of delivery, in terms of supply chain as well. And if this is where I think there's a big opportunity with AI about maximizing the supply chain to, reduce the carbon footprint of your delivery. Drone delivery, that can be a good answer because drone will be using electricity power, so that can be also something to consider. But I think on the sustainability side, what we will need to think is to move away from, of course, production, plastic usage, all the things that we're talking about, and add this to the end-to-end supply chain, to the end-to-end marketing in terms of, are we using less footprint when it comes to media, for instance. So yeah, being vocal about sustainability and talk about sustainability in a bigger sense. Yeah.
Amazing. So, do we have any other questions? In this case, Seb, I'm going to ask you one final thing. What is the one key takeaway you want people to take away today?
I guess, working in marketing for me, what I think was very successful, and I think the big takeaway for me is getting everyone at the table internally, working closely with a sales team, especially when we are talking about retail media. So I think we need better integration internally rather than working in silos. Mm-hmm. I know that this is quite something that we think it's happening, but I think in reality, I think more needs to be done on that space, especially when the technology landscape is getting more complex every day.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time, Seb, and thank you all so much. I think we can give a round of applause for Seb. And again, have a lovely day at eCommerce Expo.
Thank you very much.